Hi, it's Sam Burt here for SampleLibraryReview.com, and today we're having a look at Heavyocity Mosaic Neon. Now, Heavyocity have gone back to the future with their new analogue synth library. It's all housed within the superb Mosaic engine. It features a range of classic synth sounds that are transformed into a tool that is built for modern day productions. Mosaic Neon might have a retro hat, but it is also a head that is firmly focused on the current zeitgeist. Now, the Mosaic series has been a real hit for Heavyocity, so much so that Mosaic Neon marks the 8th library to use this engine. I think what appeals is how it can be simple to use with the all-controlling macro knob, but also has a real depth of programming should you want to delve beyond the snapshots. Many core sound types have already been given the Mosaic treatment, but Neon still gives us something very different. Never a developer to do the standard thing, Heavyocity have sought to present the iconic sounds of vintage synths in a totally new light by utilising the power of layers and the intense capabilities in modulation and sequencing available in Contact. Classic synthesis types such as subtractive and FM are reimagined for the modern composer and producer. Mosaic Neon has nearly 5 GB of uncompressed samples, which works out as 3.7 GB as lossless. It works in the Contact player and 6.7.1 or later is required. It's available for VST, AU and AAX formats and also works standalone. It's totally NKS ready, so works brilliantly within complete control. There are 1,406 samples, 84 unique sources across 5 sound categories. You get 114 snapshot presets. There's a fully featured ARP for rhythmical programming, and a multi-parameter control using a single macro knob. The library retails for $119. Those of you familiar with the Mosaic engine will be pleased to see that there's nothing really changed in that regard here. We've got the mixer, control, options, ARP, macro sequencer and master effects. We'll briefly dive into those later. And we've also got a whole bunch of really exciting snapshots divided into 4 categories: arpeggiator stuff, pads, playables and rhythmic. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the mic off and I'll just play through a bunch of presets so you get a really good understanding of what you can get from Mosaic Neon. As you can see from that little run through of a few selected presets, there is a whole plethora of amazing sounds and variety you can get out of Mosaic Neon, all of it with a really nice analog grit, which I really enjoyed, but it's thoroughly modern, and a lot of this is down to this incredible engine here, which is full of immense amounts of modulation. We've got ARPS as well, macro sequencers and master effects on top of all of that. Now it's a 3-layer library. So we have 3 different samples here in each of the different channels, and you've got some basic controls for pan, etc. I've got a little preset up here called the Synth Chase. So I'll play that, and then I'm going to deconstruct it slightly so you can understand a little bit more about how the engine works. I'm not going to go into a full explanation of every parameter. There's a brilliant Heavyocity walkthrough of that on their website, which is great. So I advise you to check that out for a full-on understanding of how this works. And there's also the manual, which is really cool. But this is what this one sounds like. Okay, so a lot going on there. Now, so there's a solo 1 channel here, the coin meltdown. Okay, I'm going to take off a few parameters. First of all, I'm going to take these off here. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that you've got control over this. It's the macro knob, and it controls all the other modulation. So it's a modulator of the modulation, if you like, really. But I'm going to turn all that off for now. So there's none of that going on. And I'll turn the macro sequencer off. So we don't have that, and it's just... Now, if I turn the macro sequencer off, actually, it's all manually controlled by CC1. You can see going up and down there. But I'm going to turn all this off for now. We'll turn the ARP off. Go to the mixer. We'll have a look at this. Now, to access parameters for each individual channel, you click here for the envelope, etc. I'm going to put a longer sustain on that for now. EQ, we'll leave that. I don't think it's doing too much. Take the filter off. The drive, we can take that off as well. Just got to remember to put these back on later. Gate's not on. Space, we'll take that off as well. So we go back to a more raw sound. I think that's about as raw as that sound gets. We took most stuff off it. Now, I've done that so I can show you a bit more about the raw sounds and how we select them. So if you want to change the coin meltdown sample, just press browse and it takes you here. You'll see the coin meltdowns in the chiptunes selection. And these all hark back, as the names will give away, to vintage consoles of the, I'd probably say, early 80s or 80s, late 70s and into the 90s. Mario Boy here. Let me just center that pan in so it's a bit more in the middle. We can also use this browser here to go along to different ones. But also access different sections here. So we've got the pads as well. There's quite a few of those. Keys and mallets. Digital noises, these are a bit more atonal. Probably good for atmospheres and layering under pads. And attack partials, these are really useful for adding percussive crunch to some of your patterns or your playables. Often just laid subtly underneath, they can be really cool. Or you could use them to really go to town with some more percussive drum patterns. There isn't a lot of those in the presets actually, but it's more than capable of doing that. So let's just go back to what we had, which was the coin meltdown. Okay, so we've got that. And then we've got, obviously, you do the same with all of these and select your own samples. We'll start putting some stuff back on. So if we go to the envelope, we'll shut that down again to what it was. EQ, the filter was on. The drive, both of those were on. Space, I think, was on. Then put the ARP back on here. Solo it. So each channel has its independent ARPs. You can link them so they all match the same one if I did this and took solo off. They're all now using this as the main arpeggiator. But on this patch, they've actually got all different ones. Which gives loads of interesting complexity. Now we'll put all these back on. I'm not sure if they were all on, but there we go. Now, if I drag up CC1, see all of them changing as I do that. Now, you can also go to the macro sequencer and have it done automatically for you. So you don't have to use your mod wheel. And this is quite good for making it a bit stricter in the patterns that it comes up with. I'll drag it back down to the bottom. You can do stuff like make it a lot faster. We can also vary how much this, it goes for each individual thing. So maybe we don't want the gate being quite as affected by the big knob. We can just shut that down. Same with the drive. And what it's actually affecting is whatever's been modulated here. You can see these little things moving, and you do that by using these up-down arrows. So if I do that increase or decrease the out, you'll see that starts to come into play now as well, And I can drag it back down there. And we do this, it's the same principle for the EQ as well. So say we wanted to alter the EQ more of that. Is that pulsing frequency there? You can just drag that in there for now. We can also completely just make it go backwards, I think, on there. But we can turn the EQ off as well. So all of a sudden, it's not doing anything to modulate the EQ. So the options are massive and really can get nitty gritty with it to your heart's content. Let's put this back to something a bit more sensible. 8th. We've also got the master effects here. So put a reverb on. We've got the punish. They're the typical, it wouldn't be a Heavyocity product without a punish knob, would it? So we've got some lovely reverbs here. All these types of ones here. Bloom space. Really great stuff. So the ARPS also have chord features, so you can select some of the steps to just be the chord. And the only thing left, really, I haven't gone into detail, but I've covered most of the stuff there, I think. The only thing left to say is that we've got this really interesting key mapping function here. You can see how we've got different colours here, and they correspond to the different channels. So we see we've got channel 1 is on the bottom. So if I play in this blue range here, you'll see we've got channel 1 and then channel 2 are the only things that are playing. Channel 3 isn't playing. Until we start going up here, and if I go into that range, you'll see that channel 1 and channel 2 aren't playing because it's only designated to play channel 3. But that means we can create, if you're clever with it, these combination patches where you can get a lot from, like, say, holding down some bass pulse in the left hand and then adding a different type of rhythm, which is what they've done here, higher up. So if we go back to the rhythms, you can see that the rhythm here for 3 is entirely different to these at the bottom here. So you can see just about a quick tour of the interface and how the modulation works and the ARP and the depth in terms of the key mapping as well is incredible. And although we don't have a great deal of samples, so for example here for the attack patch, there's only 10 samples, and a few more for the pads and keys. That may in other libraries be a little bit of a limitation, but I don't think it is here. There's enough here to play with, and it's the combination of them within this layers section here and within the incredible amount that you can do with the macro sequencer and the ARP that gives this library such breadth of scope. Mosaic Neon sits in a really appealing space for when you want that retro edge but with a modern aesthetic. The library achieves this by combining well-curated samples and then working the huge array of modulation capabilities within the Mosaic engine. Although the actual sample pool is relatively small, there is a wide range of source audio, resulting in the ability to create anything from lush pads to jittery digital loops. With so much going on, it can mean a lot of clicking between various pages, and although the interface is very flexible, it does need learning well if you want to quickly create your own patches. For that process, it was slightly frustrating that there is no init patch, so you can start easily from a blank canvas. That said, there are over 100 great snapshots, many of which employ the macro dial to tweak a number of parameters all at once. Whilst the focus is on Mosaic Neon as a scoring tool, I do think it has a huge appeal to artists and producers, especially for pop and electronic styles. If you're a sucker for the less than perfect analogue synth vibe, but finding that your mini-mood clone is just too limiting, then definitely check out Mosaic Neon as it breathes exciting new life into those classic synth sounds. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let us know below in the comments what you thought of Mosaic Neon. Don't forget to check out our website, samplelibraryreview.com, for all the latest reviews and the weekly deal compressor.